In this video, we will work on the third exercise for this assignment, and it's basically working on this image of an apartment in New York City. So let's go ahead and read what we should be doing. Okay, so exercise 3 is 40 points. Open the file called New York City exterior.jpg and replace the building outside the balcony with a nice blue sky and some clouds. Make sure you fix the gloominess of the current image. Obviously, the current image, it seems that it was a cloudy day, so we should add some vibrance to this image if we're adding a blue sky so that it doesn't look odd, right? Because if there's a blue sky, then this whole tone of the image will be much different. It will be much more vibrant in the presence of a blue sky. And finally, it says don't forget to reflect your blue sky in the mirror instead of the building. So obviously here what's reflected in this mirror is the building across the street and the plant, which is right here. So instead of that, we want to replace, obviously the reflection should be the blue sky. Okay, it's quite challenging. Obviously it's not an easy exercise, but we'll try to work at it to the best of our abilities. Okay, so the first thing we need is the sky. So we can Google blue sky, find a nice picture, high resolution, obviously, because this image, the image size of this image is 1280 by 851. I got to this window by holding down the Command Alt keys and then clicking on the letter I. Okay, we can also get to it by image size. So 1280 by 851 is a good image. We need a good resolution sky image, and I went online and I found many. I think I like this one because I like the quality of the blue, and it also has some clouds, so I'm going to go ahead and select this one. Okay, so I'm control clicking, copy image, and then go to Photoshop and paste it, Command V. And as you can see, it goes on a separate layer. Now let me call it sky. Now obviously the sky image is much bigger than my image. If we look at this image here, it says it's 1920 by 1200 pixels. So it's much bigger than my image, which was, I remember, 1280 by 700 something, 851. So this is much bigger. What I can do is the following. I can either zoom out, Command minus, to be able to do Command T to see the edges of my image, which go beyond my canvas, right? Because my canvas ends right here. And I can scale it down this way, okay? Or what I can do is hit the F key. So if you hit the F key on your keyboard, notice what happens. First of all, before hitting the F key, realize that we have several tabs open here. Each of these tabs are different files. Now, if I hit the F key on my keyboard, we don't see the tabs anymore. We have more space. We have more space. We are more comfortable in our workspace, and we can zoom in and out, and we are not bothered by all these tabs in front of us. If we click F one more time, it's a great black view. The workspace becomes black. The layers panel and all other panels disappear. The toolbox disappears. The purpose of this black view is sometimes we wish to see our artwork in surrounded by a black background. So we would go ahead and click on the F letter on our keyboard twice to get to the stage. If we hit F one more time, we get back to the main interface where we see the toolbox, the menu, all the tabs and the panels on the right side. To work comfortably with this image, I'm going to go to the next view, which is the view without the tabs. Okay, so I'm going to click F. All right. Okay, so make sure you are on your sky layer and you hit Command T, T for transform, because we want to scale the sky down. So hover over the bottom right corner and then hold down the Shift key so that we don't distort it, and then scale it down like so. Okay, so obviously what I want to do is have the sky cover only this part of the balcony for me, because this is where, you know, the building is seen across the street, and I want to replace that with the sky. So I think I can, you know, just place the sky somewhere here, and that should be fine. And now let me zoom back in. Okay, so what I can do is the following. I can hide the sky layer temporarily until I trace this whole section, and then once it's traced, I can mask. Masking is a new concept that's being introduced in this very video. So let me go ahead and trace this area. We know from the very beginning, when we covered the tools in Photoshop, we can trace, you know, using the lasso tool, the magnetic lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, and so forth. But these won't make our trace accurate. We also learned the pen tool, which allows us to have an accurate trace, and that's what we're going to use right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the letter P to go to the pen tool, and then start working with my trace. I just zoomed in, and I will start tracing. So starting from this top corner, I will click once, and then I see that there's a vertical line, which is the edge of the building, of the bricks. So I'll click one more time, and you see that a straight line was created. Again, keep an eye in your paths panel. You see that every time you click a new click, basically you will see your path being formed in this work path panel. Okay, this is the next vector point. I'm just clicking, I'm not dragging at all. And then click here, click here. Now here we start having curves. So I can't click and move on anymore. Let me zoom in to get a better view. And I can see here that there's a slight curve. So let me click here once and drag. Okay, I haven't released, I just clicked and dragged to get these tangent handles. And then I will go to this little point, click and drag to make a tiny curve. If you remember from the tutorial where we covered the pen tool, in order to create an angle, we need to get rid of the extra tangent handle that gets created. So to do that, we hold down the Alt key and we click on that point. Okay. Click and drag, and you see the curve is being formed. Click and drag, and now hold down the Alt key, click, and then get rid of the tangent handle. Click and drag, click once, that's enough. Now here, if I click and drag, I will get an additional wave, which I don't need because this is the shape that I need. So I only need to click. Okay, most of this comes with experience. So don't freak out if it's not working from the first time. Luckily, you have this tutorial and you can observe the steps that I'm making, so you can you know, do the same thing. It's much better than being in a physical classroom where you feel you're staying behind, I think, in such a case especially. Okay, and then click and drag to make this curve. Now when I come here, I will click, and I see here that my curve is a bit far from the edge. So what can I do? I can hover over this tangent handle, hold down the Alt key, and then drag this a bit in to follow the shape. Okay, I'll click and drag here, and then here. Again, I have the same problem, but I can fix it by holding down the Alt key and hovering over the tangent handle and pulling that back. Click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Okay, now I need the angle again, so I'm going to delete this tangent handle by holding down the Alt key and clicking on this anchor point. And now I'm just clicking to add more anchor points. Okay, and then I will reach the beginning of my work, which, I don't even find it, one moment. Okay, right here. So this is the very beginning, and as you can see, when I hover over it, the little circle appears next to the pen tool, which means my selection is ready to close. So I'll click on that, and you will see in the work path my completed path, right? The image is too busy for us to see the path. I mean, I see some of it right here, but to see the real path, it's in the Paths panel. Okay, so how is this useful for me? Now, this is how it's useful. What I need to do is make a selection from this path, okay? Because unless I select it, it's not doing much. So I will hover over this gray square where it says work path, and then I will hold down the command key and then click once. Doing that will transform my path into a selection. And then I can unhide my sky, and now I can mask it. The minute I mask, whatever you see selected, inside of that selection you will see the blue sky, and everything else will be hidden. So masking is right here. Make sure you are on the right layer, the layer that you wish to mask, and then go down within the layers panel, right here where there's a gray rectangle with a circle in the center that says add layer mask. Click on that, and then your sky is masked within that selection. Okay, now you see that there's this link between the image and the mask. This black and white thing is the mask. What you can do is remove the link by clicking on that little link icon, and then hold the image. Make sure you are not on any tool except the move tool, so click on the letter V, and now you'll be able to move your image within the mask, right? So how powerful is this? Because I feel that this part of the sky is very dark blue and I didn't like the effect. So I'm moving it to find a spot where there's more clouds and it looks nice and natural. So something like this works better for me. Okay, so I just unlinked the link that was here. And now I can click back on the link so that basically my mask and my image are linked, and if in case I move one of them, the second one moves with it. So we'll continue working with this file in the next tutorial.